Okie dokie. Back at it. I know it's been a minute. Back to the second ever Rogues Gallery. I'm back here with Jamie Giraffe um, to talk about some shit that's happened. Mainly, the first thing we're really going to talk about is the shit in the Capitol that happened a couple weeks ago. I wanted to wait to talk about this because I wanted us to process what happened. One, as an American, and two, I'm curious as like we've talked about a little bit outside of like recording or anything like that, kind of like on Discord about what's happened, but it's gonna be kind of fun to talk about the discourse and what we've seen in the past couple weeks or a week and a half of since this shit has happened and our perceptions of it. Now, right before about 30 minutes before we started recording this, I got a very disturbing text from a friend, which I'm going to read. I won't say who it is, but we're going to talk a little bit about mental health and how the past year is kind of taking a toll on all of us, our friends, our family. But I got a I got a not a good text message before this, but I just want to, I want to raise a glass to our friends, our families, to their health, and hopefully everything comes out okay. So, best wishes, everyone.
Absolutely.
But
It's not easy year.
no, it is not.
And it's only what's it? 16?
The 16th.
It's
We're
not good.
16 days into the new year. I knew it wasn't gonna go well, but I I didn't think it would just start off the fucking way it did, though. And
It's not been easy.
no, and you had a rough go of it too, right off, like literally the first day.
The very night that it happened.
Yeah, and
The
we'll,
very
ooh,
New Year's Eve.
yeah, we'll get to that. But the big as in world like news, I guess. Let's talk about the Capitol being raided in the United States. That is, you know what I love is like you were making sure nothing would disturb this. Like you had no sounds on your end, and I had an alarm go off. I don't know if that was picked up or not on my phone.
I
Uh,
hope not.
but it doesn't matter. It was just a buzz.
I
But
can hear it.
uh, but the raid on the Capitol, like the first day that it happened, I didn't know about it happening until fuck they'd already made it into the building, and I probably wouldn't have known about it until I jumped on Twitter later that night. Uh, but my initial reaction was pure fucking anger and still embarrassment. I'm still super embarrassed as an American of what
Sure.
happened there. And any Trump supporters and shit like that, if you see this and you got something to say, you can go fuck right off. I don't really care. Any weird QAnon people, you can talk about it down below. I'll just shit on you. I don't. uh, but the reasoning for them storming the Capitol is not the reason to storm the Capitol. There was no revolution. That's not a revolution. You're being crybabies about fucking losing because your favorite team lost. That's all that was,
Yeah,
in my
that's
opinion,
true.
at least. Um,
It's I, what they wanted to achieve out of it. That's not the way to go about it because it's not going to solve anything. Let's say they pushed for a second vote or whatever. All they're doing is breaking the system, and it would have just caused more chaos than it already has. It wouldn't have looked good on them. I don't get the point. They
no,
achieved nothing other than, I mean, look at the state Trump's in right now. All they achieved is making the person that they think is amazing look more like an idiot. He's completely gone into hiding. I saw today. He was meant to be somewhere and he's been disappeared.
see, I didn't even know
Unseen.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got up today. We like planning to do this. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know what it's like there in the UK, but like, cause my birthday's in 2 days, so like we have to like renew our tags and like I have to renew my license this year and shit. So got up and did that shit. Then prep for this. So like I haven't even seen Twitter. Actually, Twitter is my main
Actually looked at it.
news source. Like, or information. Like, I wouldn't say news because it's all mostly biased opinions. There's no like real middle ground. So I kind of just like look at the fucking bullshit on both sides and see where they intersect. And then still, it's an opinion of mine, so it still could be wrong. But what we can't. I mean, have you seen any of the fucked up conspiracy theories surrounding the Capitol shit?
So many. I haven't read into them very fully because I see and shit on me for saying this, but I see the top level and I just go move on because I just don't believe it. And obviously, the people on the other side of that will go, "Oh, it's fake news. You're not reading into these things. You're not educating yourself." Yes, because I don't need to. I'm not an idiot. What's happened is, I saw something on Twitter today. Thinking about it, I mentioned it to Louise, my wife. It was a video that was put together by, I can't remember quite who. I'll find it. I will find it and I'll send it to you. Which was all the things that Trump has lied about over the last 4 years, totaled up. They'd actually totaled them together, and it was 30,500-ish across 1,400 days.
What?
And yeah, and it's like a 7-minute video doing them. Obviously, they're multiply counting the same lie. So there's like certain lies it's going. He said this 900 times. Like, one of the most stupid ones I took away from it was him when he was trying to talk about a trade deal with Germany or something, and he's like, "Oh, I love the country. My father was born there," and then it's like his father was born in you. Why lie about that? What did he gain out of that? Granted, that is one of his very minor lies that really doesn't affect anyone. The others are much worse, but it's a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah, like the whole here's the thing: it's like one of my hillbilly redneck friends. We've been discussing it all week. Oh, actually, it fucking happened. And when it started out, he was very, man, they're fucking idiots. And then he starts seeing. He goes, "Oh, that was Antifa that started that got people to start going in." I'm like, it could be Antifa. Then I heard QAnon. So I go. Let me put it this way. I don't think the MAGA idiots were there to do that. I think, yes, there were people in there to incite. Dude, it's a mob. So whatever the mob starts doing, like a handful of people are doing, the mob's going to follow. It will always happen. It's. You
get enough people speaking up, sheep will follow.
Yes, everyone's just a lemming at that point.
So given that statement, let me ask you a question outright. Do you think in that speech that Trump incited that?
No. Okay. Not directly. Mm-hmm.
Define that.
He's smart enough to say stupid shit and stop before it would implicate him in. So in that speech, I think he said enough to fire people up, but not enough to implicate him into inciting it.
Okay. So I completely understand where you're coming from. I think it's more than him saying things to rile them up. He said very particular words in a very particular way, in my opinion. For instance, we could try and find the clip, but where he says, we can all join me in marching down to the building. And it's like, you don't say that unless you want to.
Yes. 100%, but and that's where the nuance comes in with like the law and shit like that. Like, what did you really mean, and what was the real intent? Which you can just lie and be like, oh, my real intent was this, but how do you prove intent? Because I went through that a little bit when I tried suing the doctors that killed me, Is like, listen, you're probably right. You're probably 100% right, but can you prove it? And I go, well, how the fuck am I supposed to prove it? When it happened, I was in a room full of doctors and nurses that I don't know if they'd sell that doctor out. You know what I mean? Uh, I know what I heard and saw, but they can also be like, well, you just came out, you just were revived, you were on drugs. How do you know what you saw and heard? I'm like, oh fuck. So it's the same it's the same thing of going. Well, he never 100%. By the way, I'm not taking Trump's side. I'm just giving like how the law would look at it. Is
how the will look at it.
How what?
How the law will look at it.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go through trial.
Oh, he's going to go through trial. 100% he's going to go through trial.
He'll be convicted.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll be convicted.
I think
I'm hoping he does. I hope he gets impeached. Like going back to my idiot friend. He goes, "Why are they even bother impeaching him? They're wasting all that money." I go, "It is kind of a waste of money." I go, "Yes, he has a handful of days left, but they're trying to make sure he can't run again."
Yeah.
That's what they're trying. I go, I don't know if you've ever heard, and he never heard this before. He goes, I go, if you don't learn from history, history is doomed to repeat itself. I go, this is almost exactly what happened to Hitler. Hitler was thrown out. Well,
In a lesser way, but yes.
yeah, not like, Hitler was thrown out of his party. He comes back, starts the Nazi party, takes over the government, starts this Nazi regime, fucking almost mass genocide.
Yep.
With people like, it starts off with fanatics like that are willing to follow him, and then they get so far into it and they go, oh fuck, maybe this isn't so good. But at this point it's too far gone and they have to just follow orders. And now I'm not giving credence to any Nazis that were just following orders and then committed horrible crimes against humanity. You still did what you did. Granted, most of those people are fucking dead now, but you still did what you did. And they've had to, they lived with what they did. So, but like they're seeing the pattern of another Hitler, and that's what they want to stop. Because this thing is getting really weird. Of how this is going to sound really bad. So, but I'm just going to say it. There should have been a massacre at the Capitol.
Okay.
How you're storming the Capitol building. Any other time that there's been protesting, there's been National Guard there, or a larger force, like whether it be police, National Guard, or something like that. This happens. There's barely any stopping force in case shit did go sideways. Their guns were taken away from them, except for the Secret Service. So that leads me to believe that they didn't want violence to escalate. I think a total of 5 people ended up dying during this raid.
Correct. Yeah.
And with what has happened with like the BLM movement, which I love the sentiment of BLM, but it has turned into a very weird thing of people hijacking it and making it a violent thing. When it always starts off as a peaceful protest, and then it turns into either a cop
Just gets
being the catalyst and starting some shit, or someone on the side of Black Lives Matter is the catalyst, and then it starts rioting. So, but at every turn here in Columbus, I would watch videos every day when BLM would be down here. I'm only like 5 miles from downtown, which I guess there's fucking shit going on today. I didn't even know about it till one of my mates that I work with told me. He's like, man, I gotta go downtown, and they're telling me not to go. And
related to BLM or
related to the Capitol shit.
just checking. I assume
But there's always a force to meet them that could rival them in case shit start popped off. Uh and there's been proof that like cops have let, like at the Capitol, like just letting, like, open up the gates, or like, oh, we ain't gonna fuck with this, go ahead. And you can see in those groups the people that were being violent and the people that were just kind of going with the wave, like that stupid Elizabeth chick that got maced. She's like, they maced me. They maced, like, you're just an idiot following the crowd. Like people that brought like stolen police shields, zip ties. Those people, which they have been arrested, those
they found
people.
pipe-
Yes,
found pipe-
that's what I heard.
Yeah, they disarmed them.
I also heard that fuck. It's one thing I don't like about having a mustache and a beard. Um, that a lot of those people were in there the day before getting tours by some of the Republicans.
Yeah, apparently.
Uh,
I don't know how truthful that is.
yeah, because the only thing that holds any merit with that is, like, it was kind of weird how some of those people found the offices they wanted to go to, which I guess is not easy to find. I I guess that's the only merit. I've been in the Capitol before, like, but I was also like 13 years old, so I don't remember how intricate that place was.
I would have thought that some of it would be quite a bit online.
Yeah, I think like the catacombs, like the lower levels, are kind of hard to figure out
I would have thought
for that reason, in case shit happens. I would assume. I don't really fucking know, but
Did you see the video of the police officer getting crushed in a door?
I started having a panic attack watching that.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
Um,
I think that particular video was the one that really made me go, "Jeez, this got serious." And
That-
and that wouldn't happen if, like you said, there weren't people who went there with intent.
yeah, because like
A planned strategy.
that made me sick to my stomach. Like, these people are also, now I think it was the same tunnel. I'm not real sure, but before that, like when the cops were at the mouth of the tunnel, one of the cops got knocked out, pulled out, and they beat him with Trump flags, American flags, and Blue Lives Matter flags. I don't know if that guy survived or not. But that's just super fucked up. Like, you're there for a revolution. Listen, the Capitol is the America. That is our building, the Citizens Building. Like, we're allowed in there most of the time. This time, that's a closed door event, and there's a reason for that. So the American people can't bully and change something. Like, that makes sense. Like, certain shit you can't always have the public in for. This was one of those times that you can't. It was just one of those times. So whatever the catalyst was fucking horrible. The bit seeing the cop being crushed fucking just crushed my heart, freaked me the fuck out. The guy getting knocked out. So when I say that should have been a massacre of the people that were raiding, it's like, that's not a joke. Like, that just showed that we have, like, Chuck E. Cheese has better security than our Capitol.
You say it should have been. It would have been if the Capitol hadn't taken the measures to go, let's not give them, firearms, guns, whatever.
Well, it might have been deterred, though, too, if they had guns.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting onto the whole gun argument. Should they, shouldn't they? Would it have been deterred? I think it would have riled them up. If they were going with pipe bombs, would it have been deterred? No. Maybe you'd have had less people. Granted, there'd have been less of those Elizabeths.
Yeah,
But
and it would have been like the catalyst people going in. Like, when I say there should have been a massacre, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to die.
you're saying it could have been, not it should have been.
Yeah, like the fact. Here's like, I'm sure, I don't know if like there's any video. I know there is there's a picture where they barricaded the floor
Hmm.
to the Senate, and on left and right there are two Secret Service agents, and they're pointing their guns out the window to people
Over the top of the
breaking in it over the top of a cabinet. One of them, I'm pretty sure, is when that woman got shot in the neck, and she died. Like that, just like, I know they're trying not to use deadly force at all possible, but the fact that they made it that far is insane. Like it severely bothers me that the American people, basically unarmed, um like, could siege a building like that. Like, it kind of blows my mind. And they made it in with pipe bombs. Uh and here's the thing, is the fact that they brought zip ties with them implies that they were going to take hostages.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could have taken their goal of zip tying whoever the fuck they wanted, didn't touch a hair on their head except for zip tying them. They are now going to federal prison for hostage taking. Now they've really escalated to being a terrorist.
The thing is, they could have still done that. Once they were in there, that there's footage of a lot of them inside.
Yeah.
Then kind of going, actually, we've probably gone far enough. Thinking, probably best to stop, because I think, as you said, they could have been better armed, as in the people in the Capitol. I reckon there probably was a lot more inside that were armed. Maybe we just didn't see that because they thought got it under control enough that they're not going to go any further.
Yeah. I mean, the whole
place got a panic button for the army,
yeah, but here's the thing: is what I do know is it was either FBI or CIA SWAT team showed up, took the body of that woman that was shot in the neck, and then they left, and no other reinforcements showed up. So
well,
that
could argue they were under Trump's control.
Yeah, and one of those guys that was part of the raiding party that was actually in like the tactical cosplay was a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
Like, what? And some of those are ex-veterans, which is kind of insane.
It is enlightening seeing who else was involved. I think there was an Olympic swimmer that got spotted there, stuff like that, and none of them open up about it.
Oh, they're all gonna go to jail though.
A lot, yeah.
Almost, if they entered the building, they're all gonna go to jail. I don't know if you saw any of this. Like, I'm pretty sure probably 99.9% of those people had a cell phone on them.
Oh yeah.
So when you enter the Capitol building, they have a network extension and plus all the security protocols and shit. As soon as you enter the building, you don't have to have your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on. It will find your phone, and you have been tagged in that building. So on that date, if you were in that building and you had a cell phone, and I saw this from a network engineer, he goes, it may not be tomorrow, may not be in a month. He goes, it's just going to take time to figure out the data. He goes, and it's very simple. He goes, you're all going to jail. Every single one of you idiots that went into that building. So yeah, the whole thing with clusterfuck. I mean, I'm seeing shit on Twitter where tweets were being deleted by Republicans, basically stating like, well, we brought a bus of people down that day, like. But people have screenshotted it though, and they're retweeting it. Now, also, like, just to ride the fence a little bit, like, that could also be Photoshop. So I hate, like, I'll always be a little bit skeptical with the technology we have, and the ability people have to make other people. I mean, fuck, look at like the deep state shit. I mean, that software is fucking insane. Like, if you,
Yeah.
it's just nuts. It's fucking
Scary
nuts.
what people do, trust me. One of the other things I wanted to bring up with regards to the capital thing is how many massive conglomerate companies are now pulling funding from people that they know back the second vote. So I think it was like 120 odd Republicans, and companies like Deutsche Bank have gone, we're not funding the Republican Party anymore. Bugger off. But there are some companies, which I think is cowardly, who have put funding to both sides, you know, Republicans and Democrats, and they're pulling all funding because they're too scared to take a side rather than just pulling the funding from the Republican. And I find it very interesting how quickly so many of these companies are doing it, because what was that funding for? You know, you don't give funding unless you're getting something back.
Yeah, there's no point. Like,
Scary.
then that just like, that makes me going like, there is a shadowy cabal controlling our government.
I want to see if I can find a list of the companies.
I heard of that. I heard that like a lot of fundings were being pulled from like the House and from the Democrats and definitely the Republicans. Sorry, I guess I had a text message real quick, but
Marriott, that's one of them.
Marriott,
Citigroup. Here we go. 147 voted to reject Joe Biden's election. There's all sorts of companies on this list: AT&T, Bank of America, FedEx, CVS, ExxonMobil, Target.
they voted against.
They had given funding to one of those or multiple of those 147 people that voted to reject Biden's election win. So they have now pulled that funding.
Probably because with the storming of the Capitol, they didn't want to look like they funded
Exactly.
the.
How many of them could have? If you want to ride the fence.
I mean, tell you the truth, we'll never really fucking know.
Nah.
unless, hey, anonymous, figure this shit out.
Well, isn't there some kind of law that's 20 years after events they have to release documentation?
I think so.
Yeah. One day we will know.
I know, like a lot of like military shit. After 20 years, they can release it to the public because there's no fear of families getting hurt or killed.
Yeah.
But even still, it still could be heavily redacted.
Yeah. But you can read between the lines on some of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. But like, I mean, we've kind of touched on this, but like, what was your initial reaction to that as someone outside of the United States?
Obviously, in the UK, the news about it was somewhat limited unless you went truly digging.
Yeah.
But it was fear for how bad it was going to get. That was the initial response. Is, you know, I mean, I know I sent you a message. I sent, you know, Smug a message. A few other people in the Discord just saying, "Stay safe." I have no idea how far-reaching it is at that point.
Yeah.
But it was also, there was a certain part of me going, at least Trump's going to get his comeuppance. Because, like we said at the start, there was no positive result for the people inciting the riot. There was no positive result. Trump was going to get his comeuppance whether they managed it or not. So, fear in terms of just pure safety and health for people, but also finally this shit could come to an end.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
And yeah, and just this, like, Trump possibly getting his comeuppance has actually created more of a discord between the United States people. Actually, this is all around the world too, but I see mostly between the people of the United States is, why can't black people, or BLM, let's say not black people's a bad, I don't know why I said that first, but why can't Black Lives Matter protests and only this happen? Like, I'm just trying to rack my brain to say this correctly. So BLM goes, well, we protested non-violently, peacefully, thank you, peacefully, and it was met with violence. These people started peacefully. They incited the violence, and the amount of force that was shown to them was not equal to BLM. So that has ripped the country in so many different facets, like between BLM, the racists, the
way to take that though is, unfortunately, you've got to put it down to Trump, and I'm not going to call Trump a racist outright, but he is the president. Yes, you've got the Senate, blah blah blah, but he has the ability to stop the violence of BLM to a certain extent. He also could have started the violence more at the Capitol, but why would he want to cause more violence towards that riot when he's the one that incited? Because I think he riled it up. I'm not saying he said go and do it, but you know what I mean.
When he, well, when he wouldn't come out publicly and be like, hey, listen, you guys need to calm the fuck down.
He wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it. And when he finally did do it,
it was half-assed, and it was like,
and he didn't even really tell him to stop.
He said, you know, oh, you shouldn't be doing it, but it is fraud.
Yeah, he fucking reneged on what he said. He goes, you shouldn't be doing it, but they are fucking me. So that's what I'm talking about. Is like, he says he can say shit to fire people up, but then he'll say something else or do something else to wipe out what the fuck he just said. Anyone with half a brain just goes, he's keeping them fired up. He just basically just told them to keep doing what the fuck they're doing without saying it directly.
Yeah.
And people with a quarter of a brain are just going, see, he said he didn't want us to do it. Yeah, but you're stupid enough to go, oh, but they're still fucking my favorite guy, so I'm gonna go throw rocks at police people. Like, the shit is so fucking nuts and embarrassing that. But hey, you gotta respect the commitment to these fucking these dumb shit people. I don't want to say the R word. To these dumb shit people that they're such anti-maskers that they're willing to fucking commit crimes with no mask on.
I mean, going back to the I said earlier about the lies, I'm just trying to remember some of the other ones. And things like saying, we're going to build 10 miles a week of the wall, and it's like, only 40 miles were ever built. We're going to, we've had the best financial, economic growth of any presidency, and it's like, no, statistically you had the 8th best. We're going to there was a Army Forces Choice bill, I can't remember the exact wording of what it is, but he said, oh yeah, we passed that. And it's like, no, here's footage of Obama passing it before you were in power. Don't get what you're on about. And he just, so many lies that he'll just say because he knows it riles up and brainwashes certain people.
Yeah, and then
clever. Hats off to him. He's an intelligent man who knows how to rile people up, who knows how to get support,
Intelligent is subjective.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I mean.
He's good at being a grifter. That's what he's good at.
Yeah,
That's where his intelligence lies.
he's capable. He's not. He is brainwashed himself in the fact that he is intelligent. He just believes the wrong thing, therefore uses it for the wrong one. For instance, if you had his level of intelligence, but you wanted to do good, he could do a lot with it. What I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
I'll give it to him. And my idiot friend made a great comment yesterday. Is when shit was about to pop off with North Korea, and he went over there, and he calmed shit down. Who knows what was actually said, but
Yeah.
the shit stopped. Like,
Yeah.
with what we know, you gotta take your hat off to that a little bit, you know. Granted, whatever ill Kim Jong, whatever the fuck's in power now over there, huh?
Wait till Biden meets with him.
Um,
Be a touchy conversation. Yeah, so Trump promised this to us, so you gonna keep to that?
yeah, and he's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And he's like, okay, missile,
Yeah, exactly.
um,
God.
which will, god damn, that'll just fire the world up. And I don't know if any of us want that shit sandwich.
Except China and... Oh dear.
Yeah, but man, has this started a not good trend coming out of a shit year? Fucking
Yes.
uh,
Nice segue. Nice
yeah.
segue.
Yours started, whether you care to share it or
Yeah.
not. Yours started off right on the going into the new year.
Oh yeah. So, great segue there into the new year and talk about mental health. My new year started, and I'm very conscious of the fact Louise is in the room, but it's alright. With my 1-year-old son, who turned 1 on the 18th of December, having a very rough night on the 31st. On the 29th, he had his 1-year immunisation jabs, of which there are 4. Nuts. One in each arm, 1 in each leg. Poor little one. Although he's not that little, it's huge. And he ran a temperature of over close to 39 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. You work in Fahrenheit, I assume.
Yeah, I think it's probably about 100, a little bit over.
I mean, what's
I'll figure it out. Just keep talking. I'll figure it out.
about 39. Wouldn't rest, crying non-stop throughout the entire night. We had to ring basically hospital and say, what do they advise?
It'd be 102.2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Whatever that means to you guys.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad. So yeah, he had a temperature of 39 and wouldn't sleep. He was shivering, shaking. Very unlike him because he sleeps quite well normally. Rang the hospital and they said, look, but by the time they gave us a ring back, that was the problem. We had to wait. We had got him quiet. He was still high temperature, but he was quiet. And it's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm at my parents. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not going to the hospital right now. They said that it's worth you going in to check him over. And we thought, we'll see how he is in the morning. So New Year's Day morning, we travel home, get home, get him out of the car. He's half asleep, slept in the car, finally, first sleep he's had. Get him out of the car, put him in bed in the house. I say to my wife, I'm just going to go to the car and get the bags, go check on him. And I go to the car, get the bags, halfway back to the house, and I hear Toby, my other son who's 6, shouting, Daddy, Daddy, Mummy needs your help, something's wrong with Adam. Adam being my youngest. Run into the house, go upstairs, and Louise is crying on the bed. She's got him across her lap, slapping him on the back. He had had a convulsive seizure and was blue, stopped breathing. Louise had been a hero and resuscitated him. He was limp, still blue, but his eyes were moving. My sister is epileptic, so I kind of saw. I knew very quickly it looked really similar. Got him to hospital, called an ambulance. He was okay. They said that basically the temperature had caused a spike where he'd gone from the warm car to the cold air, breathing the cold air, gone into the hot house, and that had just caused the seizure. And the mental effect of that on Louise, having to resuscitate her own wandering child, has been hard. I mean, it was hard on me. I had to take a couple of days off work. I was due to go back on the 4th. He had to stay overnight. We weren't home till late on the 2nd. And I went back to work on the 4th. And, throughout the 2nd and 3rd, I kind of felt okay. I was staying strong because I had to for Louise. And that's where my brain was just stay strong, be there for the family. Started work on the 4th at like 8 o'clock in the morning. By 9:30, I was just in tears. I couldn't do it. It just hit me because my brain went elsewhere and couldn't hack it at all. And I just had to literally dropped an email and just said, "This is what I'm dealing with. Bye. I can't do it today." Since then, do you mind me saying? No, I assume she wouldn't, because my wife is very pro mental health. Since then, my wife has been diagnosed with PTSD because she's had a very shit 9 months, with this just topping it off. Mental health has affected everyone in the last 12 months because of COVID. And that, I think, the biggest negative effect of COVID is going to be the mental health of this entire planet for the coming decade.
100%.
And yeah, the start of it hasn't started well for us. On the plus side, Adam is fine. He's back to himself. Can't tell any different now, really. It's just Louise and I. She's received some help. Hats off to Steps to Wellbeing. I don't know if that's a thing in America. I assume it's just UK. Steps to Wellbeing.
It's probably like Children's Hospital here.
No. So Steps to Wellbeing is a kind of, I don't want to say a hotline, but it's a telephone service for mental health. It's like a self-referral counselling service for men.
I don't know if we have something like that here.
But hats off to them. They've been fantastic. Hats off to Dorchester Hospital for dealing with my son. And what's the project called? The blanket. Project Linus as well, which it's a very small thing that makes a big difference. But Project Linus provides like little handmade blankets to hospitals for infants and people that need them. And they, used one in the hospital when we arrived, because obviously we were rushed there, so we didn't have much time to pack anything. And we came home with it because they give it to you. Hats off to them as well. But yeah, that's the start to my year.
Well, I don't think last year's ever stopped.
No, it's just blended into one.
Yeah, and
shit.
And you guys have had, like, I want to say, with what's just happened to you, like a straw to break the camel's back, but that's not a straw. Someone dropped 100-pound weight on top of you.
Oh yeah.
As someone who deals with PTSD, mine is obviously stems from something different, and I have a different. Yeah. I suffer from survivor's guilt and stuff like that. And I told you.
Sorry, what did you say? Survivor's
guilt. To to this day, like it's not as bad anymore. But to this day, I feel like I took someone else's life that day, like a child. It's gonna be hard for me to say this. I know a child probably passed away in that hospital that day, and I took his spot or hers. I will always feel this way. It'll never change.
Yeah.
So that's something I deal with, and I will for the rest of my life.
That's not easy.
No, so
But
I told you I would explain this thing because I can't. I told you I couldn't explain it over chat. And I think this it will make sense if I just like I make a visual of it. And I forgot to get something to write with, but I have circular
while
shit.
You do that, I'll explain. One of the things Rogue said to me when I was talking to him in Discord after I did one of my first streams after this all happened, and we were talking about how the streaming's help because you need to be open about mental health. You know,
I'll be right
I'm
back.
tearing up now, and I've been tearing up throughout that. No worries. You've got to be open about mental health because it will help everybody involved. And he said that one of the mechanisms, things he was taught about dealing with PTSD, he would try and explain to me what he wants to do because it might help. Louise, apologies, actual tears. But yeah, it's been difficult. I've taken time off work to be with Louise and family because that's what's important. And my work have been brilliant about it. Everyone I work with has been great. You've got to be open about mental health, particularly this year, or it's 12 months I should say, since March last year when it all started. Well, I say March last year, that's when it started in the UK. I think it was the official day of lockdown, whatever it was something like the 16th of March last year. I don't know if it was different in the UK. I shall ask when Rogue is back. But yeah, speak up, don't be afraid. It's not a weak. Being able to talk about it is strength. And that's how it. Oh, I need to take it. You alright? Good. Other than me interrupting you watching the report.
Holy fuck.
You'll have to rewatch that bit, Ray.
I will. So, give me the cliff notes of what you said.
Oh, just pro mental health. And I explained that you were going to try and explain one of the mechanisms for coping with PTSD that you have been taught.
And it does help.
And
so
that talking about mental health is a strength, not a weakness.
Yeah.
I'm going to see your artistic skills now, aren't I?
It's horrible. Okay, so your mental health and your PTSD is a room filled with a ball. At the bottom is a button. Or I'm sorry, the button would be the PTSD. Sorry.
Other way around. But yeah, I'm with you.
So the chances of that ball hitting that button right now is 100%, right? Yep. Over time, and it bounces around the room. So if it's super large, it's going to hit. Over time, that ball gets smaller, and it'll hit that button less. You get now. Imagine this is a 3D room, but that ball will get smaller, and over time, it hits it less. It'll never ever go away.
Yeah.
But over time, it will make things will get easier.
Less likely to trigger.
Yes, it's less like you'll still have triggers. I still have triggers.
I mean, mine is not a diagnosed PTSD, but I mentioned earlier about my sister and her having epilepsy. So my sister didn't always know she had epilepsy until I was 12, 13-ish. She would have been about 15. On a school bus, 6 people on the bus. She's playing cards, we all are, and she has a seizure. Not well. She has a bad seizure, and I had to stop the bus. You know, I'm 12, 13. I had to stop the bus, ring 999, pull her off the chair, put her in the aisle, put soft stuff around her head. I took note of the time. I didn't know why I did all of it, but I did it. I'm alright. And that triggers me every time I see a seizure or I talk about it. Every time. Always has done, always will. I'm alright. Yeah.
Well,
So-
you saw me when I tried explaining like the way I felt of me dying was like I want to live, but like I would trade without a thought in my mind. I would trade lives with someone else, or take their spot. It's
Yeah. I know it's very easy for me to say this, but you shouldn't feel guilt.
you're right.
It's
I agree with it. No, I agree with you. It's just my brain doesn't agree with you.
Yeah, I know you're always going to, but you shouldn't.
That's just part of what my PTSD does.
Yeah.
And one shit thing is like I found out while that was happening, my friend had a miscarriage. And he didn't like mean anything by it, but he told me. I also found out my best lady friend, she also had one.
Right.
So, and like when they both told me, I apologized like it was my fault, and I told them I would, if I could, I would trade places with them. But
We both need tissues, man.
shit's it's gonna go sideways here, and when I'm gonna read you something because the phone call I just took was not a good phone call.
Yeah, sure.
In which this is gonna add to like the whole mental health and the COVID thing.
Sure.
I'm gonna read this first. I told you I was gonna read this.
Yeah.
This is one of my good mates. I got this text at 2:40. I literally just got off the phone with him. It's 4:19 now.
Cool. Just
So
because obviously it's nowhere near 240.
yeah.
So
So I got off the phone with him because he's on his last day of supposed quarantine, and our company made him go back to work today. He shouldn't have been back at work. So I called him to see how he was doing. He told me, he's like, it's a shit day. I shouldn't be working. But what he did tell me was his father woke up this morning to his mother trying to yell his name, butt naked on the floor, diarrhea going from the bathroom to where she was at. And he told me that she was at the hospital. I get this text at 2:40. I'm completely lost, bro. I don't know what to do. We're saying, man, the doctor just brought my mom back to life twice, and they told dad they don't think she's going to make it out of hospital this time. That phone call I just got was him bawling his eyes out, saying sorry for bothering me, but she's dead. This is not it's not helpful at all. But this shows. Now he hasn't been around his mother. She did have COVID. They don't. He didn't say what she officially passed of.
right.
But
Do you mind me asking how long ago you know that she was diagnosed?
they found out this morning. So there was no signs. Everything was fine yesterday, and this all happened. Like I guess like 4 o'clock this morning is when the shit started. Um, but I've never met this woman, but my heart weeps for my friend.
Yeah, sure. Understand.
He is a hard man. He is he's not one to cry in front of people. I'm sure it like he just called. All he said like he's like I don't know what to do. He goes I'm sorry for I'm bothering. That's not a bother to me, and I'm sure it wouldn't be a bother to you if one of your friends called and this happened. And he just kept trying to get me off the phone, and I just told him I loved him, and I'll do whatever I can for him. But this mental health, this whole fucking year has been a fucking slog on all of our mental health. I can't, like, I'm about to go do something that's extremely dangerous after this. Not necessarily for my health, but for my father's and my mom's. Because they're refusing me not seeing them. I've been getting text messages this whole time, like, when are you going to be here, blah, blah, blah. I have not seen my family since my cousin David passed on July 8th. Well, he passed on the 4th, like his funeral was on the 8th. I haven't seen my family since then. I didn't see him. Some people that are in the community we're in know that they spent time with me on Christmas and New Year's while I streamed. And that was for my mental health because I've been alone. Like I only see my customers, so that's what takes toll on me. I like as much as my
more time with me than you have with your own family. We've never met in person, and we've only known each other since roughly the end of August, beginning of.
Correct. Like I hadn't seen my. Yeah, I saw my brother on Thanksgiving, and then before that, it was the funeral. So, and he lives 20 minutes from me. So this, like, that
Where
is.
I live 1,000 miles from you or whatever.
Yeah, that. I mean, being away from friends or family, like, this is one thing to do. This helps me out a lot, and I'm sure it helps other people out a lot. But being in the same room with someone that is family or friend is a huge. It's huge. It's just huge. Like people don't understand that. It's not like I'm almost 2 years out from my incident. Like February 7th will be my second anniversary of it, and it was a rough year. Then this shit started. So like this is where my fucking mental health is just fucking waned. But I've learned to stay strong even though it's not easy. This is why, like I think I said to you, like it has been hard on you, and Louise is very lucky to have you, and you both are lucky to have each other because you can lean on each other when you need it. The fact that she just walked over and hugged you to make sure you were okay, it probably made you feel 1,000 times better about what you just said.
Yeah, sure.
But there's millions of people like me that don't get these things. Like I only get these interactions with people like through a fucking web camera or like on stream, which it's very. Me and you know what that feels like. That feels good to have people to chat to that egg us on in good ways, but it's not the same as being in the room with someone.
It never will be. It's never the same. But I'm sure both of us would agree what we've both been through. What we've both been through is completely different. You know?
Yes.
Would have been a lot harder without contact in this manner. It's one of the things I've definitely noticed in streaming in August is, God, does it help me deal with situation? I mean, yeah, Louise just made a great point. Sometimes there are some days where I don't want to stream, because of what's happened, I should say, and she'll force me to do it because she knows that it helps both of us, not just me. You know, Louise gets very involved with the community and you know, she loves watching you and myself and everybody else, and chatting away, and it helps us all.
It does. This has been a good.
Some faces. Lead it.
It is.
Hold it.
I see.
And I think it takes more courage as well. That's the thing. Streaming or talking to someone over a webcam or over the phone doesn't take as much courage against your mental health as it does physically going and seeing. And it sounds stupid to say, but sometimes going and seeing your own parents or something can be daunting, because you know the conversations you're going to have, the emotional weight, baggage of what's going to happen, both from a positive and negative standpoint.
Yeah.
And it's far harder than a webcam, which is why streaming is a great gateway to it.
100%. And
I'm glad you understood, because I felt like I was rambling.
no, you're not. And any of like our fellow streamers, anyone that this has any idea of what we're talking about, knows what we're talking about.
People in our community are gonna watch this and go, "What the fuck just happened?"
They took a wild turn. I mean, we planned. Well, I planned on talking about the Trump shit or the Capitol, and then because of with excluding, like, obviously I had no idea my mate's mom was gonna pass today, and under such horrible circumstances. Like I wanted to talk about mental health because it's obviously been kicking me in the dick. Because one, I'm basically doing it alone.
Yeah.
You guys had your fucking 100-pound weight.
You're not alone.
I know I'm not alone.
No, it's important to think that. To think, actually, I'm not alone. Because you know you can. Wait, I was gonna say pick up the phone. Dial Discord at any time. You can have my phone number, but it'll cost you. Like, it'll actually cost you money to ring me across the
I
seas.
know.
But you know
it's just easier to message and shit on Instagram or
Yeah.
Discord. Yeah.
But you know you've got people to chat to.
I know.
Same.
It's sometimes I just want someone to come and sit on my couch and watch a movie with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's not the same as like this is and it's cathartic, but to have someone here in the room with me, like to chum it up or fucking have a few drinks, it's different. The people I interact with, the majority of them fucking suck, and they treat me like shit when I'm doing work for them. I'm doing shit for them
During a pandemic.
I'm risking my health, let alone other people's health, to make sure that they don't see a stink bug in their fucking house. So I say to you people, fuck you.
Say it directly to camera.
Fuck you. This is very real. Not only have I had enough friends get this shit, this is probably the closest person I've known that had fucking died today. And I have to assume it's from COVID. I don't fucking know. But I'm sure it didn't fucking help out.
Gonna be related. Yeah.
And like I said, to hear someone, like, it haunts me if I hear my father cry. Let alone a guy. My buddy, I equate to I assume this is what my father was like at our age.
Right.
Even though I didn't know my father at this age, he had us when we were 30, so I would have been 7. But I don't know. Like, you don't know shit at 7. You don't. So I'm assuming that's what my father is like or was like. So to have this man call me bawling his fucking eyes out because he doesn't know what to fucking do is heartbreaking. Because
Process, and it'll take time.
Because he's not being who he is because of this horrible fucking thing that just happened.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, my heart fucking weeps because he just lost his mother. I don't know what that is yet. My father's almost fucking bit it 5-6 times. Us Melcher men are not good at dying. We're good at beating it, and then we suffer for it. We're good at suffering. That's what we're good at. But
call me a sadist.
hey man, I'm not doing this shit on purpose though. So please, my big thing here at the end is COVID's real. Start acting accordingly. People are fucking dying. And what bothers me worse is the mental health of our medical professionals. I've seen so many art pieces, and I feel like these people just saw this shit, and like I saw a drawing, a cartoon of a nurse sitting on the floor, leaning against body bags, with a photo of her family between her legs, crying, and there's fucking assholes outside, with like, it's my body, my choice. Anti-maskers. They're all that stupid rhetoric those fucking cunts say. They're in the fucking, they're trying to save lives, and they're on the front lines of this bullshit, and everything is lost and for naught when those fucking morons do this shit. And if that's why my friend lost his mother today, is because one of these fucking morons, it's even more heartbreaking. Like, I almost don't want to go see my father here in the next 30 minutes. But I'm going to put an N95 on, and then I'm putting another mask over top of that. And I'm going to spend most of the night over there, and then I'll do it again tomorrow. Because I need to see my fucking family. And the only reason I don't is because I have to go take care of fucking assholes in my professional life and go into their homes when it's not needed. So, people, start thinking of everyone else. This isn't fucking hard to do. If not, go fuck yourself. Just don't fucking go out, or just stop. Just fucking stop.
Have some common sense.
Common sense. How about you care for someone other than your fucking self? But James, I want to thank you for sitting down with me today and getting emotional.
No problem.
It
helps us all, and to end on a slightly positive from me as well. This helps us both.
Yes.
All three of us, wife included. And more people that watch this, more people it's going to help. And I'm going to sing it from top of the roofs on our Discord, because if it helps one person, it's worth it.
I'm okay with that. And I know there's people that are worse off than us in the community that could maybe take our anecdotes. Maybe it will help them, and I think it's worth it, 100%. But to my friend James, to my friend's mom, I'm not really
called you this before, Mike.
Thank you, James. I'm not a religious person. They were, but you're good with God now. Be calm and sláinte.
Tink.